Hi guys, it's Chris. Welcome back to my channel, and today, I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little bit nervous to film this video. Not for any reason in particular, it's just an experience, it's a story I've not really ever mentioned here on my channel before. It's a very odd story, it's a very bizarre story, and one that only my mom and my therapist really know about. I kinda wanted to talk about it finally, because I definitely did learn quite a bit from this whole experience. It has been about 3 years since this experience happened, and the day it happened, I've been wanting to make a video about it. I just never really knew if I should, or if it would be the right choice for me. But, upon thinking it over, I have come to the conclusion that yes, it is finally time that I just tell this story and let my voice be heard. And again, I learned quite a bit from this experience, and I hope something may touch you as well. So today I'm going to be telling you guys the story of the time that I was almost cast on a TV show about eating disorders and body dysmorphia. And let's just say it did not end well. It did not end pretty. A spoiler alert, it basically ended with me having to threaten legal action against these people. So if that storyline interests you, then listen on. Grab some tea, hold on to your tea, because I'm honestly about to spill it. So let's begin. So this story happened 3 years ago-ish, around 2015, 2016. And when I think about my YouTube channel and, how much outside recognition I've gotten from my YouTube channel, this is definitely that time period. I was featured in a book, in a magazine, I was featured on a few podcasts. It was a very exciting time for me. So you could imagine how excited I would be when I was emailed by this woman who was a casting agent for this upcoming show, documentary, series on body dysmorphia, eating disorders, etc. She basically emailed me saying that she would love to have a Skype call with me. She would love to interview me, basically to see if I would be fit for this film, for this show. She wanted to just kind of get to know me a little bit more. She watched my videos, she liked my videos, and she thought I would be a pretty good fit for this upcoming show. So, here I am, not 15 years old. I'm like, what, 16, 17 years old? This is exciting. This is great. I'm like, awesome. I will surely talk to you. That's great. So we scheduled a meeting on Skype, and it honestly could not have gone any better. She was very nice. Let's name her Amber. She was very nice. Amber was a very nice woman. I basically learned to find out that she is this casting agent for this larger company, and it's her job to scout out people online or in real life who, they think would fit these roles on their show. So it was her job to interview many people for the many shows that she was involved with. She was very nice, she was very warm, very welcoming, and the two things that I want you to remember are that she said, A, everything that we talk about here in this little Skype session is completely confidential, almost like a therapy session. She just wants to get to know me. She just wants to gain some information on me and my story, so then she can go on to the people higher up in her chain, let them know that I would be a good fit if I would or would not be. The other thing she mentioned to me was that none of this conversation, nothing of the sort was being recorded, audio recorded, video recorded, tracked, nothing. This was a complete off-the-record let me just see if you would possibly be a good fit for this show that we're doing, so then I can let other people know and they will get in touch with you. Very off the record, none of this is being recorded, tracked. This is completely confidential between you and me. And I was like, okay, that's great. I mean, I have your word. She gave me no real reason to question anything. I didn't imagine there was any sort of malintentions here. Is that the word? So I basically just told her my life story. I told her my disorder story, how it began, how it kind of escalated into something a lot more. She was mainly focused on body dysmorphia. It wasn't truly on eating disorders, the film. It was mostly on body dysmorphia and plastic surgery. She kind of advertised this show as like not really a botched, you know, the TV show Botched, but like something of the sort. You know, I made it very clear I had body dysmorphia, but never in my life did I honestly ever contemplate plastic surgery. And I made that very clear. If this is a show about plastic surgery, I'm not your girl. Like, no, ma'am. Like, no. But she said, oh no, you know, as long as, this sounds so weird, as long as you have body dysmorphia and, you know, blah blah blah, you could possibly just be in this documentary. I remember her wanting me to specifically say, yes, I've been diagnosed with body dysmorphic disorder, which I was and which I have been. But I remember she wanted that clarification that yes, you are struggling with this and this, this and this. But again, very nice woman. Amber was very friendly, very warm. She definitely made it sound like, you know, this is her job to just do, she made it sound like she does 30 of these Skype calls each day, which definitely made me kind of take a deep breath and relax a bit. You know, I thought, okay, if I mess up, if I, you know, do something wrong, she won't really remember or care because she does this throughout the whole entire day. She said, yeah, after you, I got 20 more calls to do, no big deal, just a quick get to know you interview. Okay, fine, that happened. Boom. So the next day or next few days went by and she emailed me saying that she, you know, let whoever know that our interview went very well, and this other person now wants to meet you. We're gonna name him Robert. We're gonna name him Robert. And Robert wants to meet me, wants to Skype me. Basically, Robert was the person in charge of this whole entire casting for this show. So this is a big deal that he wanted to meet me. I was like, wow, awesome, this is great, this is awesome, this is great. She gives me a bit more information on the name of some company involved. I do not know the name of this show. I still do not know the name of this show. I know nothing about this show. I'm not even sure if it's a thing. But she gave me some information that I was able to research a bit about it. And I found their Twitter. I found the Twitter account for this upcoming show. I was like, okay, so I looked at their tweets and they were casting people for this show on Twitter. They were, you know, adding people with the little @ sign, other people who they want to interview, and 90% of the people they were mentioning in their tweets were pro-Anna accounts, which made me very confused. I don't know why these people thought that a pro-Anna person would really be comfortable being on film, being on camera, talking about their disorder that they may or may not even think that they have. So that was the first red flag. I was like, that's a little unprofessional. That's a little inappropriate to be asking like a pro-Anna account to be in your show. But whatever, again, I know nothing at this point. I'm just going through the motions and I'm excited to get to meet Robert because he seems like he's a guy to impress here. I have to impress him to be on this show. So we schedule a Skype interview, and this is where things get very, very odd. Very weird. I don't want to say anything incorrect and I don't want to watch this over and say, oh, that was out of order or that was wrong. So I don't want to make it seem like I remember this Skype call to the T. I remember like bullet points of what happened, so I'm going to try to fit them into somewhat of an order, but this next part of this video may be a bit jumbled because it's honestly a blur, and I remember, again, many specific things. I don't remember the order, but I'm just going to try to, you know, kind of let you know what happened during this Skype interview. So he calls me on Skype, and the first thing that he does is kind of introduces himself to me. He kind of tells me a bit about himself, and he had also struggled, he does still very much so struggle with an eating disorder and body dysmorphia and body image issues. He kind of went into great detail about the behaviors that he does every day. He told me that he has a scale and a mirror right when he gets out of his bed. It's right there. He said he gets on it about 10 times before he could move on with his day. He hops off and on it 10 times before. Yeah, he was just really going into grave details I don't even want to mention or remember about things that his disorder makes him do every day. Now, I feel as if he was telling me these things to make me feel comfortable talking to him. I don't mean to discredit anyone's disorder or mental illness. That's the last thing that I want to do. But I cannot imagine having an eating disorder and having body dysmorphia and interviewing somebody who also struggles with these same things the way he did. Once again, I'm not saying he didn't struggle. I'm not saying anything of the sort. I do not want to discredit anybody's experiences ever, because that's not something you want to do. But it sounded like he was milking some experiences he may or may not have had in order to make me feel comfortable talking about my disorder. His words were very triggering. He was bringing up things that, again, you just don't bring up when you're talking to somebody who is also struggling with the same things. They're just like an unspoken rule, like you don't talk about this stuff, and it seemed like he was very disconnected from that. So after he introduces himself, he of course asks me some questions, and basically it's the same questions that Amber had asked me. So I'm answering like I do, like you would a question, and he basically pulls out a transcript. He pulls out a wad of paper. It looks like, you know, like a typewriter. It wasn't a typewriter. It was like the Courier New font. It looked like, if you've seen like play, if you read like a play in high school and it's the person's name, then the text. It looked like, you know, like a play, like a transcript of words. And it was me and Amber's Skype call from the other day in words. And he was basically telling me that he wants me to talk in complete sentences, talk very clearly, because some of the wording on the previous transcript got a little messed up. You know, like if you're saying, let's say I'm saying the sentence, I have a cat, and then maybe, you know, something picks it up and it translates to I have cat, you know, so some words were not there. It was basically like broken English. Now, last week, you know, Amber told me that this was not being recorded, nothing of the sort. And now here I am face to face with literally everything that I said to Amber. And yeah, he told me he wants me to speak clearer. He wants me to speak in complete sentences. If he says, how are you feeling? He wants me to say, I am feeling blah 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 blah. It was very clear that the wording out of my mouth was being somehow recorded, whether that be audio, video, text. It was very clear that he needed like specific things for me to say. The interview goes on. Again, he's basically asking me the same exact questions that Amber had asked me prior. I just was required to speak more clearly and in complete sentences. But again, same questions, easy, easy, easy. Well, things start to get a little weird. And yes, weirder, I mean. So again, I don't remember how each of these things played out, but he wanted me to show some of my body. Now, I remember wearing a button-down blue shirt, because that's kind of my favorite thing. And he said, oh, can you wear something a bit more revealing? Can you challenge yourself and wear something a bit more revealing? I just want to know that you're comfortable, you know, talking about things and whatever. And here I was thinking, I'm telling you about my body dysmorphia disorder. I'm telling you about my anorexia, but specifically about my body loathing issues, and you want me to kind of show my body. And I got a comment last week that said, why do you always button your top button? And I left some buttons undone today for your viewing pleasure. But I'm not the person to show skin. And I was like, okay, you know, whatever. So I say, okay, what should I put on? Like a t-shirt? And he was like, yeah, just something a bit more revealing. You look very nervous. You look very awkward. You look too professional. I just want you to be relaxed and more comfortable. I am very comfortable, sweetie, in a button-down shirt, okay? But I was like, okay, let me go change. So stupid. He was like, oh, you could just do that right here. Just change right here. I was like, okay, let me go find a shirt to wear. So I find a white V-neck shirt, very low V, and I just go away from my webcam to change. And he's joking like, oh, where'd you go? You could change here, like, you know, we're friends. It was so weird. So I come back on the screen, you know, in my white, somewhat see-through, very thin V-neck shirt, and he goes, oh, that's it? That's all you're wearing? As if that was not enough for him. So I say, what do you want me to wear? And he goes, there's something a bit more revealing. You look very nervous, very angsty. Just relax, just wear something comfortable. I'm like, this is literally the most skin that I've showed in like a hot minute. Like, what's wrong with this shirt? But I am so stupid and young, and I want to impress this person. And I change my shirt into this, like this really, really thin white t-shirt. He tells me, oh, would you feel more comfortable if I undress on camera too? And I don't remember what I said, but I definitely did not say yes. But before I could even do anything, there he was taking off his shirt and his pants. And I remember saying something like, oh, like you should stop there, you know, you should stop there, because there he was showing me his literal underwear. And he goes, oh, well, I'm not being recorded, only you are, so it doesn't matter. So basically he could be on the webcam butt naked because he's not being recorded. That was the first time I was ever told I am being recorded. I had no idea I wasn't being recorded. Nobody told me anything. For all I knew, this was just a casual interview. So when he says I'm being recorded, you know, my guard instantly goes up. And I don't know if the video is being recorded. I don't know what aspect of the interview was being recorded. So I'm like, great, somewhere on this loser's file is me changing my shirt. I'm like, great, this is disgusting. Then he goes on to ask me, what pants am I wearing? And I said, oh, just like black skinny jeans. And he says, oh, can you show me them? So again, if I could go back, I would literally not do this. But here I was, 16, 17 years old, so excited about the thought of being on TV. I was thinking, well, if I want to be on TV, if I want to, you know, make it here, this is what I have to do. This is what people have to do. And I did. So I showed him my pants, and whatever, I don't remember much. He then kind of asked me if I perform any body checks, you know, which are kind of like self-measurement things that your disorder kind of makes you do to feel good. And I said, yeah, my number one body check was to put my 2 hands around the uppermost part of my thigh, and you know, if I could do that, then my disorder is happy. And he says, oh, can you show me? And I show him. I hope I don't have to tell you that this is not the right thing to do. This is not the right thing to do. Don't do this if you're ever in this situation. If I could go back, I would just hang up and call the police. From what I can remember, these are the only, you know, very somewhat sexual things that went on. For the rest of the interview, I was basically just going in on my disorder, my experiences. I was so tired. I remember the interview was so long. I was so tired, so worn out. I was honestly disgusted with him and myself, because here I was revisiting very, very dark times in my life. He would ask me, oh, do you have any body insecurities right now? And here I was, you know, 1 or 2 years into recovery. I was in a very, very good place, and in that moment, no, I did not have any insecurities with specific parts of my body. But during the interview, I was thinking, oh, if I say no, then I'm not gonna get this show. So I say, oh my god, yes, I hate my thighs, I hate my belly, I hate this, I hate that. He would ask me, oh, how do you feel when you look in the mirror and look at your thighs? And I would say, oh my god, I feel disgusted, I hate them, I just wanna do this to them, I hate them so much. And I did not feel that way. This is like textbook exploiting your eating disorder, and this is something that I struggle with myself sometimes just on YouTube. I never want to ever make it seem like I'm talking about my disorder or exploiting any part of my mental illness for any other thing. I've made it very clear why I'm on YouTube, and none of it has anything to do with success or views or anything of the nature. I was basically trying to give him what I thought he wanted to hear, and I would give an answer, and he would say, oh, can you repeat that? And I'll give the answer again, and he would say, oh, can you start it with this statement, with these couple words? It got to the point where I was so mentally and physically exhausted, where I literally remember saying, just tell me what to say. Just tell me what to say so you're happy, your company's happy, and you have on video or audio whatever it is that you want. You're telling me what to say, just literally tell me what to say and I'll say it. And so that happens a little bit, and eventually the interview ends and I turned that computer off feeling disgusted, not even with him and his sexual innuendos, but with myself. I felt so terrible for speaking the way that I did about myself and my recovery and my body dysmorphia, and I just spent the last 2 hours telling this man that I hate my body so much, when in reality for the past couple of years I've rebuilt that relationship with my body, and I felt like I literally had to go like into a bathroom, look in the mirror, and just say I'm sorry to my body like 10,000 times, because I just felt like I had completely just insulted myself and my body, as weird as that sounds. I just had to change my battery pack, so I apologize if this is not the exact setup that I had before. I did not realize this video would be so long. We're almost done, we're almost done. I remember leaving the interview feeling very, in a word, shook. I went out to my living room and my mom was there, and I remember just not talking for a good half an hour, just trying to process what it is that just happened and what I had just said and what now is supposedly on record of me saying, and what's on video, and oh my god, what just happened? I had no, manager or coaching. This was all so new for me, and looking back on it, I was just this very vulnerable kid who got completely taken advantage of. So I waited the next few days out, and I remember Robert was telling me, we will let you know within a few days if you're cast for this. And I said, oh great. A few days later, I was in school at lunch, in high school at lunch, and I got a text from, or an email from him saying, call me whenever you can, I have some very exciting news for you. Which obviously meant that I was going to be cast on this show, and I freaked. I did not want to be on this show. I did not want any part of my name attached to this show, or anything I had said during our interview. So when I get home, the first thing that I do is I email my therapist or text my therapist, and I say, hey, can you write an email out for me, because I'm bad sometimes with words, just kind of, can you write an email out for me to this man saying that I do not want to be a part of this. So anywho, she writes me an email out, which is a great email, and as I mentioned in the beginning of this video, we basically kind of put in there that if all of the files regarding my interview, were ever to come up again, if you don't stop messaging me, or if you have my name attached to your project ever, that we will basically seek legal action against you. And also I wrote in the email that this is mainly because of these sexual innuendos that you kind of put into our interview, and it just made me very, very uncomfortable. And I even think that I said, I had been in recovery for 2 years now, and I am doing well, I'm doing great, and your interview kind of made me worse. It really brought me back to a very, very bad place, and yeah, so I emailed that to him, and when he emailed me back, I could not read it. I waited for the next meeting with my therapist for her to open up the email, and it said, oh my god, we're so sorry, nothing, everything, you're not okay, you're not gonna be part of this, that's fine, whatever. But it's funny, because I actually CC'd or BCC'd or whatever, you could email a person and then email it also to another person and not have the receiver know. So I sent the email to Robert, but I CC'd it to Amber, because honestly, Amber's at fault here too, because she obviously knew what she was doing, and I felt kind of betrayed by her, because here I was one day, she was so friendly, so nice, and I was telling her so much about myself, and then the next day you set me up with this disgusting person who is being very, very inappropriate towards me and being very, very unprofessional. And I wanted her to know that maybe she didn't know, so I wanted her to know that she's working for these people who are very inappropriate and unprofessional. And that is the last time that I ever heard from any of these people. In our interview with me and Robert, he said, oh, I live in New York City, I'll come visit you, come visit me, we should hang out together. He said add me on Facebook, do this, do that. So that obviously never happened. Nothing ever happened after that last email, and this has definitely been one of the weirdest experiences I had ever gone through, ever. And here I was thinking that this video would be funny and fun to film, and but honestly I just feel like crap, and I feel good that I talked about it. So because of this experience, I am now very, very on guard with any outside thing that I do regarding my story and my recovery. A year after this whole experience, I was approached by Scholastic, the book company, and they wanted me to be featured in their magazine, which was so cool. And it was so professional, it was amazing. And how I knew that it was professional was that they actually included, and we will be following these guidelines for your interview. Little did I know that NEDA, National Eating Disorder Association, literally has an interview media guidelines for if you're a media company interviewing somebody with an eating disorder. Here's what you say, here's what you don't say. Right when I saw that, I was like that's great, you're very professional. Obviously they're like a huge book company, you have to be professional and not inappropriate. But if you're ever in a situation like this, do your research, make sure that these companies are legit and reputable, and ultimately never ever be afraid to say no. If I could go back to this interview, I would say no about 20,000 times and pull the plug on my my computer on the interview in an instant, and I just regret it so much. So just remember, it's okay to say no. Nobody should ever force you to do anything, and you have the power to say no. And I cannot stress that enough. So that is the story of the time that I was almost, not quite, cast on a TV show that about body dysmorphia and eating disorders, and yeah, so anyway. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I will see you all next week. Bye guys!